The PlayStation Store still continues to run a gargantuan amount of sales, adding the VR sale as well, but we're going to be circling back to the games under $20 sale and looking at the games under $5. A lot of these games I've mentioned in the past, so if you already think you own a plethora of them, click out of the video, but for those of you that have a couple of bucks in your PlayStation account and you want some good titles, you can definitely find them right now. So let's get right into it, and let's start things off with the Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. Now, a bunch of the Yakuza games are on sale. Yakuza 0 is on sale, Kiwami's on sale, but the price on Yakuza 6 is so good at 75% off for $4.99 that I would recommend you to pick this up. Now, I do usually recommend to start off with Yakuza 0 if you're getting into the franchise for the first time. At this point, hopefully a lot of you guys either own the game or you've already played the game, because Yakuza 6 is a great title as well, and it kind of shows more of a mature Kiryu wrapping up this arc of the story. Obviously, it continued with Yakuza 7, but you get the idea. Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, still follows that traditional Yakuza gameplay, and for $5, I believe this is the cheapest it's been. Great pickup and a great game that I'm always gonna go to bat for. Next up, Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition is 85% off for $4.49. This has been on sale like 8 billion times, but it's always worth a recommendation. I hope Square Enix, after 8 billion recommendations of this game, does one day do a sequel, because I imagine a lot of people have been picking it up over the last few years. But this game is excellent, and the Definitive Edition includes a lot of additional content, given the fact that you get all of the DLC that was out. And it notes 24 previous DLC extensions. Obviously, some of those are like memes, but the game itself has great content. Not the biggest open world in the world. Don't think of something like GTA 5. It's a little bit more compact than that, but the music is great, the visuals still hold up well, and the main character in a way is one of the best main characters in an open world action adventure title that you're going to come across. $4.49 for this is a great pickup. Next up, while Doom Eternal is on sale for $15, if you want to stay at a little bit of a budget price point, Doom 2016 for $4.99 is also a really good pickup. While I'm not going to lie to you guys and say Doom 2016 is as good as Doom Eternal, because I don't think that's the case, it is a very good game in its own right. It's a visceral, brutal first-person shooter, a lot of blood, a lot of gore. You guys know what to expect from that standpoint, and it is single-player only, but or single-player focused, I should rather say. There is an online component, but yeah, it's 2021. This game came out in 2016, and you're not going to be going into that. Single-player focused, and it's a relatively lengthy single-player, so you're not getting a 4-hour campaign or something like that. It's legitimately like 10 hours, and that's a worthwhile experience for $4.99. I think it's a great pickup. Go check it out if you haven't yet. Next up, Tomb Raider Definitive Edition is 85% off for $2.99. If you have yet to play the Tomb Raider games from the reboot, I would highly recommend you get on that, because these games are excellent. Obviously, these games are also often compared to the Uncharted games, and honestly, I think this Tomb Raider game is better than Uncharted 1, and it's about on par with Uncharted 2. That might be like a very controversial statement, but I'm gonna stand by this. I beat this game about like 4 or 5 times on a wide variety of different platforms. Really enjoyed it. And it's not the lengthiest game in the world. If you have a Saturday evening all to yourself, you can pop this game in at 4 p.m. and then be done by 11 p.m. and move on with your day. But $2.99 for this one is really good. And great platforming. Not a blow-away story, but a decent story, and the visuals still hold up pretty well. Next up, if you're looking for a quality platformer, Rayman Legends is a great buy at 75% off for $4.99. I loved Rayman Origins, loved Rayman Legends. I wish Ubisoft would do more with Rayman as an IP, because it is such a great platformer. They're too busy doing X-Define and trying to milk money out of the consumer with their microtransactions, and hey, they're gonna do them, but I love me some Rayman Legends, and it is such a colorful platformer that any age group can really get into. Yes, it's accessible if you're 10 years old, but it's also accessible if you're 100 years old. Okay, maybe not that accessible, but you guys get the idea. It's a great platformer, great gameplay, visuals great, soundtrack's great. If you want a quality platformer, Rayman Legends is as good as you're gonna find, and it's unfortunate with all the great platformers that get so much buzz throughout the years, Rayman has been one that has gotten pushed to the wayside, which is a little bit of a bummer. Next up, another open world action adventure game that is going to be one that you don't have to take too seriously. Just Cause 3 XXL Edition is $4.19. As I've always said with Just Cause, you're not getting into this game for the story of Rico Rodriguez, the main character. No, you're going into this to blow stuff up, and that is the fun element of this game. Just Cause 3 is action-packed, it's action-heavy, and yes, while the fact remains that when this game came out, it was an absolute train wreck on all platforms. I played this game on a high-end PC back when it came out, and it was a train wreck on there too. It has gotten better. Is it perfect? No, but it works well enough where it is most definitely a playable experience, so $4.19 for that I think is quite good. Next up, Vanillaware always has my attention. Dragon's Crown Pro is 75% off for $4.99. A 2D action RPG with that trademark Vanillaware visual style. Great game. And you do have co-op play if you do want to dabble into that online, if you can convince a couple buddies to pick up the game as well. This version is also upgraded, 4K resolution, and it already looks pretty good. 2D action game. If you played any other Vanillaware title, you'll feel right at home. And yeah, a pretty good title here, especially for $4.99. Metro Redux, also $4.49. This includes Metro 2033 as well as Metro Last Light, the two best Metro games in my opinion. Yes, I think both are better than Metro Exodus, and both are excellent atmospheric first-person shooters that are very narrative-driven and relatively lengthy campaigns for a first-person shooter here as well. Last Light, in my opinion, is the best game in the series. Great voice acting in these games, great gameplay, and the visuals still hold up pretty well. I remember playing a Metro Last Light on the PlayStation 3, and yeah, it wasn't that great on there, given that it was a little bit too advanced for the PlayStation 3 hardware. But on the PlayStation 4, the shackles do really come off, and they run well enough where they are very engrossing experiences. And again, great voice acting, great storytelling, and the narrative for a first-person shooter is really good, and honestly, one of the strongest first-person shooter narratives that you're going to come across in all of gaming. I don't think that's too much of a stretch. Next up, this might be one of the best deals available right now on the PlayStation Store, and that is Dishonored 2, 85% off for $4.49. Dishonored 2 is absolutely tremendous. I thought it was even better than Dishonored 1, and I was super high on Dishonored 1. But Dishonored 2 features two playable characters, Corvo Attano from the first game, and then you also have Emily. Both routes are worthwhile to play through. They're not distinctly different, but they're still worthwhile to go through them both way, and great stealth action adventure games, and relatively lengthy here as well, and you can tackle the game in a variety of ways if you want to go stealth, if you want to go more guns a-blazing. That is really up to you, but I would say a mixture of the two is probably the ideal, probably leaning a little bit more to the stealth side. And lastly, want to give this game a shout because I don't think I've ever mentioned it, and I don't think I've seen it go on sale recently, but Escape Plan is 50% off for $4.99. I played Escape Plan on the PlayStation Vita, and I really enjoyed the game. It was this puzzler with a very dark art style, a classic art style, so to speak, and that really is reminiscent with the soundtrack as well. I thought it was an enjoyable game, and for $5, I think it's a pretty good pickup. If the art style looks cool to you, if you're a fan of puzzle games, I think Escape Plan is going to be something you enjoy, and $5 for it is pretty good. They also do have an Ultimate Edition that is $7.49, so you can check that out as well. But that's going to wrap up this one. Again, guys, I've been doing my best to try to cover these sales. We did a video on the indie sale. We did a video on the VR sale, which there's not too much to cover there, but yeah, the under $20 sale has a lot of the bigger games that I'm super familiar with, and the indie sale, well, it has like 1,600 deals or 1,500 deals. A lot of those games I haven't played, but want to get around to playing some of those, and maybe we can talk about them a little bit more. But that's going to do it for me. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.